All right. Welcome to Sdeke Podcast, a podcast where we document and explore professionals, their careers, and we get into their world for them to share what is it that they do which makes our world go around. So, with that said, I just want to say thanks to Workshop 17 in Clove Street for collaborating with us, granting us this opportunity to use this world-class studios at Studio 17. And if you want to make your booking, we'll leave all the information in the description below. And trust me, this is a world-class studio, and I'm sure my fellow colleague can actually attest to that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, this will be a podcast between myself and my colleague, Mr. Eli. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for inviting me. It's a great honor being here.
Yeah, I just want us to have like a quick chat on how we started, how we're going, and just to get everyone excited for this new year. And I'm sure we've got some exciting stuff coming up.
Definitely.
However, we'll start with your career.
Oh,
please do introduce yourself and what you do.
Okay. As you said, my name is Eli. Completely, my name is actually Eli Chimanga Mulumba. That's what my parents call me, but I prefer Eli, short for Elijah. But I'm mechatronic. I studied mechatronics at CPUT, and currently I'm working as an aerospace technician.
Nice. Sounds cool. So what brought you to studying mechatronics?
Mechatronics, what sparkled the love of it was growing up in our neighborhood. We had a mechatronics engineer in the neighborhood who I saw him as a big brother, though I had a big brother, but I saw him as a big brother, as an inspiration, because very smart guy. And he laid the foundation for me to study it. Mm-hmm. And I was always intrigued by, because I recall he was working, not in and out of the country. He was working in Saudi Arabia. So he explained to me what he was doing. He was working on these machines involved with robotics. And it sparkled the interest. Hey, I want to do this. This is the future, And also wanted to try and create a Transformers.
Sure.
But that's a story for another day. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Cool. All right. So you get to studying mechatronics. You completed it. Mm-hmm. Any advice that you can give someone who is studying mechatronics?
An advice that I would give is, I know most people would say don't give up, right? At some point you will find that the course might be challenging. There were some subjects back in my day that were challenging, that at some point I felt like, oh, no, man, why did I study this? I wanted to quit, but I went on. And another thing as well, there could be slightly a bit of a disconnect. If you think, when you search mechatronics on the internet, majority of the places or the websites only show you a robot, a transformer, like Transformers, the movie or the cartoon, whatever. Mm-hmm. You see those things. Mm. You don't actually think that mechatronics is more than that, because mechatronics itself is a combination of mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, and a form of computers as well. So you might, my advice to you is, if you went in for someone who wants to go in and they feel a bit betrayed, just go on. I mean, the beautiful part about that course is that it paves the way for you to go into different directions. That's the beautiful part. You can either become an electrical, focus more on the electrical aspect of stuff, or mechanical aspect of stuff. But just by studying this course, it's a powerful course.
Sure. I know you did touch a little bit on what mechatronics is. Please go in depth just to give someone who's saying that I hear what you just said, but just give me more depth in terms of what mechatronics is and what will I be looking forward to if I complete it.
If you go into it, you should look at I would say a lot of control systems, if you're into stuff like PLCs, you will be able, for some companies, you'll be required to deal with a lot of programming of systems, PIDs and stuff like that. And it all depends on the company that you go for and what you focus on. But what I'm saying is when you're studying, you will encounter that, you encounter a lot of electronics as well. And the mechanical aspect, mechanical engineering, if you don't like beams already, I'm referring to someone who's at the college maybe, you will encounter them in mechatronics. You'll encounter stuff like thermodynamics, stuff that mainly mechanical engineers focus on. You will encounter it because mechatronics is very close to mechanical engineering than most people think, actually, it's very close. So as a course, it incorporates those things. And I spoke about a bit of computer science or computer engineering a bit there because you will also encounter you'll have to code. If you're going to need to design a system or a control system or a robot, whatever you call it, you're going to need to code, give instruction to components and stuff like that. So these are the things that you will encounter in mechatronics. You incorporate all those three, and there you have the finished product.
So you start working as a mechatronics engineer. Give us some insight. How is it like to navigate yourself as a first, as an engineer?
Yeah.
And what were you doing in the first early stages of your career?
The early stages of my career, I actually worked for a company that was it was an electrical company, but the department where I worked in was very mechanical focused. So we were a lot into designing transformers. That's where I worked at. If it's something that I learned in terms of a personal and career growth is that you can see in the industry, you can't succeed working alone. You have to work with others. And there's like a very distinction between being malleable or being a peaceful person and being a team player. That's two different things. Because I remember going in, I thought that being a team player would be someone who avoids conflict, someone does not fight with others. That's a team player. And I was struggling doing something, kept on struggling. And I didn't know that my director at that time, I'd like to mention his name, Mr. Eddie, was watching in the background. And he watched me struggle for 20 minutes or something. He called me to his office and he gave me an advice that I always considered to be liquid gold. He said, Eli, do you remember in your interview, we asked if you could work in a team? And I nodded and said, yes, I do remember. And he said that being a team player is being able to ask for help. And I was just left confused because he said that it's very invaluable. That's what are the values of a company. And you learn gradually that being a team player, being able to ask for help also means being able to ask questions. Sometimes questions might be unsettling. Some people might be annoyed, but you should be able to push. And even within that, it really motivated me because I didn't have it easy because the person who was training me, an awesome guy, but he was very tough because later you are coming in, you are a zillennials, semi-millennials, semi-Gen Z kind of. You go into a field where you're working with not boomers, Gen X and some boomers as well. So they believe in the hard way of doing things and they won't take it easy. But you should be willing to know, cool, if I'm a team player, I'm willing to take the hit. I'm not being abused, different, but I'm willing to take the hit for the team, for us to achieve the goal. So that's what I would say. That's what I've learned. Be a team player. One needs to be patient, be willing to learn. If you're willing to learn and you can't do things on your own, that's how it works because you, despite you studying mechatronics, I mentioned the three different fields that adds to the pie to make the finished product. You would notice that we can't all specialize in all things equally. There are others that are strong in certain areas that you might not be, and that's what you need to work in a team to be an effective engineer. Collaborate with others. Yeah.
Cool stuff. So if you were to give us insight in terms of what did you do on a daily in that early stages of your career?
In the early stages, I remember I was doing a lot of drafting at that point as well. A lot of drawings, a lot of drafting. You had to deal with clients at some point. Where
Feel free to go into detail just to at least give someone wants to do mechatronics an idea of what they're gonna be doing when they study mechatronics.
So like I said earlier on, that it's very broad. For me, I can't say that I went for I didn't go for a company that just follows on every.
No, just your experience.
Yes, my experience.
Just your experience. Yeah.
Yeah, but my experience was that. In the early stages, like I mentioned, I had to do a lot of drafting, a lot of drawings, a lot of you manufacture things. You have to go to the partners. I had to travel a lot to go see if what was done by me or the team was actually being produced, because you have to deal with other people, and people can be people sometimes.
Sure.
So those up and downs, and you also had to. You had to be the one taking the dirt, kind of, because you're the newbie at the corner. You're the newbie in the company. So they will give you the small things.
Sure.
So you have to take it in the early stages. I dealt with that pretty much. Yeah.
Cool stuff. And then growth. How did growth look like to becoming a more experienced mechatronics engineer in that company? What are the things that you were applying to sort of grow and become more valuable to the company?
One of the few things I would say is do a lot of research where you can. You need to learn to come up with new things, because if you're going to remain stagnant, and rely on what you know might not be enough to carry the company or you tomorrow. So what I'm saying is that you might discover that there's a better way of doing something that has surpassed your knowledge right now. Companies get new equipment. Previously, they didn't use the same equipment, but now they're using, maybe like in some places. I remember one of the companies at Boa working with us bought the biggest laser cutting machine in the Western Cape.
Sure.
That was the biggest, it was a big thing, and all of that. So you also had to adapt to the new standard of what they are saying. Okay, cool. Previously, I had to fix it for you, but no, now the specifications. You also had to, something that my mentor taught me, the guy Nassif, was how to automate work. I remember he did what's such a cool thing. We automated this software inventor with Excel. So since, when you're working in manufacturing, it's repetitive oftentimes.
Sure.
So it was so cool, sophisticated, that you could just press different numbers, it changes the size, and then you've got the final product. But at the end, you still had to check. You still had to check what's going on, because attention to detail is it's invaluable. I can't stress the importance of that, because you could mess up a 200,000 rand product because you didn't pay attention.
I see.
To details.
I see. Sounds like there's a lot of stake.
There's a lot. I actually remember, now that I'm mentioning, I made a mistake that I thought, the world is coming down. When I initially joined, I made actually a big mistake where I just followed I was just mass producing, and later I was called to the office. Who did this? And I'm like, I did this. I was happy thinking that, hey, I'd done the right job, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But having the environment that I was in, it was a very good environment that they allowed you to make mistakes and correct you. While they were not just jumping on you and shout and stuff like that, which also enabled the growth. Yeah. Because if you're in an environment where you're being chastised, you are being constantly shouted at, it creates a lot of condemnation. And you just take it on from there, that, okay, cool, I'm a human being. I won't make mistakes. not deliberately, but I'll make mistakes, but how can I improve from here?
100%.
That's pretty much how that's pretty much how I experienced the growth in that area. At least take the lesson that there's always room for improvement. And at least next time, if you see, because problems, they can be somehow repetitive. You can see the patterns. You know how to avoid it.
100%.
So, yeah.
So you get to, how long have you been working now?
I started working officially in 2023. But if I actually remember, I worked 1 year at CPUT, which was, like you said, since 2022. Yeah.
Okay. So I would say that you are a seasoned, although you're in your early stage as a Mechatronics. Just go into your career from where you were working up until what you're doing now as an aerodynamic. What did you say?
It's aerospace technology.
Aerospace technology. Can you please just get into that detail? Like, what do you do now?
It's, to be honest, it's quite different compared to what I was doing there by the previous company.
100%.
I think one of the pains initially I felt when I shifted was that previously I was designing, I was sending things on the floor, and this time around I was receiving it, because here you really built reaction wheels, you built space product. It's quite different, and you find that despite me mentioning that the previous one, attention to detail was key, here attention to detail is also key. And you find we pay attention to what we send, and quality is like stressed to its highest. You learn that you learn that, wait, I'm not comparing and say there I could play, no, but you see that the dynamic is different.
100%.
It's just different. It's just different in the sense that some areas, some companies, certain things they can let go, and certain companies it's not the same. And each company have their own product and what they focus on. And the beautiful part is you learn that you never know everything. Because when I started at my first one, I didn't know. I could assume that I know. When I was shifting the next one, it was a new experience to learn more things. That's like it's more like a reoccurring theme in my career. Always be willing to learn, and here where I'm at, there's always a new product coming up, a different product. The new product coming up, they're always improving. There's always an area of improvement. What can we improve? What can we do this? Which challenges you as well to say, okay, nah, I can't just remain there. And you find that it's very fast paced. And somehow you see, and you also appreciate the fact that you are working with people that are smart, not for you to challenge them or anything, but you begin to see how can I learn from them, which is a blessing actually. Yeah.
Cool stuff. I'm not too sure if maybe you can get into the details of this aerospace. You did mention that you get, this time around you're not designing, but I think you're more on the quality side.
Yes.
So what is it that you're looking at this product? What kind of a product is it, if you can explain or give someone some insight of what exactly you're doing as a Mechatronics, and sort of like a job title or what you're doing on a daily day? Okay,
in my department, I work in the actuator team.
Okay.
So the actuator team builds reaction wheels for space, like for satellites. So basically what these items do is when you're in space, how do I better explain it? Let's say a satellite, you want your satellite to shift from looking left to turning to the right. So the reaction wheels will, and it's an actuator, it causes movement in that case. It will help you to turn your satellite to face where you want it to be, its position. That's the type of product that we are building.
Nice.
And manufacturing.
Okay. And then when you are doing all the checks, and what does that look like if you were to explain that process up until you get a stamp on this final product before you take it here?
There's a lot. There's the initial stages. We obviously get the parts, we check, and then we run through different testers to test to see if it is up to standard. Once it's up to standard, we still run through another test, about 15 tests. And once it has passed that 15 test, we give it a check and say, hey, you can go. Before it actually even goes into stock, whatever, it still runs through other tests to see if it gets a stamp and it goes. There's like lots of process. You are selling very expensive product, and you do know that if I gave you Apple cannot sell you a cracked screen Apple. They make sure that it's good. Even you can't have a chip on an Apple phone. Same way we see our products as the way Apple sell themselves, and which is important because neatness and quality is very important in the aerospace industry. Other thing as well is, as I mentioned, neatness. You need to avoid dirt. Like you can't work without gloves. Because you don't want to contaminate the environment in space and those things.
Cool stuff. Oh, that's actually very interesting. And then what advice can you, looking back at your career up until now where you are, what advice can you give someone who wants to get into mechatronics? I know I did ask a similar question earlier on, but just when you're looking in hindsight, what advice can you give someone who wants to get into mechatronics?
Okay, an advice I would give them is another one I also forgot to mention is that make sure you've got a love for it, right? Because otherwise you might be wasting your time. Make sure you've got at least a love for it, or if you're curious, be curious enough to do your research before you get into it. Though it is good for mechatronics because you can still run into other career paths.
Mechanical,
electrical. You can still swift left or right.
Yeah.
But at least if you've got the love for it, it becomes easy. Even the course becomes easy. Because when you love something, you are more interested. You are willing to take it on. That's an advice I would give one. And also, I mentioned this earlier, don't give up. Don't give up. I remember when it came to my in-serve year, I was doing in-serve when COVID just hit.
Yeah.
I remember in those years, you begged companies, can I please even do it for free? Companies would just ignore you. You got more rejections than actual responses, and it can damn you when you're in that period of time. Don't give up. And another thing that what I learned is, if you don't qualify for the job, just apply, because reoccurring theme for me was both companies, I didn't qualify for it. The first one, they needed someone with 5 years, and I had zero experience.
Sure.
I was able to get it and able to learn because
Nice.
I said, I'm willing to learn. And that's an advice I would give. Have those. Be a go-getter and be humble, which makes it easy for you to learn.
Nice. I think that gives us insight into what you do as a mechatronics. You get to become a podcaster.
Oh, that part.
Please explain your journey, how you became a podcaster and your experience as a podcaster as well.
Oh, wow. Me becoming a podcaster, it started off like, when you're walking down the street and there are people advertising something and then someone just drags you into the crowd, come and see what's happening. Yeah. That's how it kind of started, because I know it's kind of weird, but you called me into it and you invited me and said, hey, would you want to do podcasts? And for me initially, I was like, yeah, let me give it a try. But I must say the journey has been nothing but bliss. I loved it so much. And this helped me in my career as well, because I know that I've been a very shy, introverted person. Like I mentioned earlier, that my director could actually come to me and say, hey, you can't work alone. That could show you how I preferred doing things on my own. I was scared. I felt that, I can't be speaking in front of everybody. This person would see this and this and that. But doing a podcast helped me to also become friendly, more easy to approach. You actually learn that it's not just about having a conversation to respond, but you get to listen. And everybody's narrative is unique, it's different, and you get to learn from different experiences. There's always something new to learn.
Sure.
And you know that there's always a greater level to go. You can always go higher and higher. And yeah, we've been doing it for, like I said, for the past 3 years now?
23 years. Yeah.
Since
That's when we started with
it's almost 3 years, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's been nothing but bliss. I've enjoyed it, and I'm glad, and I'm looking forward to greater and greater interviews.
Yeah, I must say, for someone to give someone context, is Eli is one of the guys that we work together here at the Sdeke Podcast, and he's a testimony of how we are growing. So we started with professionals, but I figured that when I speak to professionals, I can't dwell so much into what they did in varsity. So we had to bring in the student podcast, where we just sit instead with students who are doing the same things. And today in the morning, I was actually thinking before when we were coming here, is we need to have some kind of a community where we celebrate those who have been students and now they've graduated.
Definitely.
And create a community where we can actually celebrate one another as a community, Sdeke Podcast. So I must say, thank you so much for answering the call and coming to become a host. And I mean, we are growing, and look at us now. We're collaborating with giants in the field, and we are now working with Workshop 17 in Kloof Street. Yeah. And I wanted to have this podcast at least we can just document our journey and say, this is what you're doing, this is what we're doing. And the idea is to get to educate the country as much as at the moment we're looking at the country.
Yes.
But I know it's a global vision.
True.
Where even Americans can say, okay, this is what engineers are doing in South Africa. Does it look any different to what we do here? Even when you're in Kenya, when you're looking at what we're doing as a medical students, what you're looking at the type of education and level of detail of what we're doing in our country, yes, but you might find that there's a lot of similarities that people can actually relate with.
True.
And it's a good thing that we are capturing that and we are giving it to anyone who wants to learn, or not just anyone who wants to learn, but similar people who are in the mechatronics to say, hey, this is what I did, or this is what I did differently. And then we can actually learn from one another and create a community where we are actually learning and thriving together. With that said, we have had this conversation now, and thank you so much for coming through, and thank you for taking the call to become a part of the team.
But thank you. I must say thank you so much as well. It's a great honor actually to bringing me part of the team. Like I said, it has been nothing but bliss, and taking the time to actually train me as well. I can't take it and say, hey, you just called me immediately. I just boomed. The advice were always good. Those advice you would give me, not only to do with podcasts, but also career, it has been nothing but bliss. But thanks for this platform. I do know that others are receiving knowledge. Like I've been saying to many people around me that growing up, I wish we had something like this, you know, especially when I think about students. I believe some individuals would not have studied certain courses that they didn't know, because I know a few who started Mechatronics, second year they dropped out, they felt this is not for me, or others who tried to study civil engineering, first year they dropped out because they didn't have voices that are close to them, because I know with internet we are brought closer, right?
100%.
They didn't have voices that could speak and say, hey, watch out for this. At least you know you can see something from afar. Okay, this is a red sign, or it's a red light, let me avoid, because you've heard someone speak on the podcast. But thank you so much, sir.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And this is my podcast with Eli, one of our beloved podcasters in the team. And I mean, we are growing, and all I can say is just stay tuned. This year is going to be fantastic. There's a lot of stuff that we're working on in the background. just keep on liking, share, and subscribe. If there is something that you relate with, please comment and say, oh yeah, I like what he said about big Mechatronics, attention to detail. Put it in the comments there, and let's create a community where we can encourage each other as the workforce and grow together. With that said, thank you so much, Workshop 17, for granting us this opportunity for us to collaborate and use the studios. And if you want to make a booking for yourself, we will leave the information in the description below. And let's go for it. And this year is a year of unlimited progress.
Yeah.
So we're wishing unlimited progress to each and every workforce. And that promotion is coming. Good working environment is coming. And we're wishing you all the best. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Great.